With more than a half dozen civil and criminal cases on his plate, let's sort out what Donald Trump faces in each state.
A Georgia prosecutor officially dropped the historic racketeering case against President Trump and others for attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election.
For years, you've heard it a million times, screamed from every headline and every pundit's mouth. A giant, unstoppable legal tsunami was supposed to crash down on Donald Trump, swallow his political ambitions, and sweep his career out to sea for good. It was the story of our time. But what if I told you that story is dead wrong? What if the biggest, most threatening waves in that tsunami just fizzled out before they ever reached the shore? And what if the real story, the one unfolding right now in 2025, is an insane, high-stakes battle of executive power and constitutional challenges that almost nobody is talking about? Well, get ready, because today we are cutting through all the noise, all the speculation, and all the political spin to show you what is actually happening in Donald Trump's legal wars. Forget what you thought you knew. We're going to dissect the massive, blockbuster criminal cases, the ones that were supposed to end his career, that have now evaporated into literally nothing. And then, we're going to dive deep into the brand new policy fights that are exploding in courtrooms across America as we speak. This is not the story you've been told. This is the story of how the tsunami disappeared and what's roaring in its place. First, let's revisit the storm that was, the criminal cases that were poised to be the single greatest threat to Trump. Pundits called them open and shut, the final nail in the coffin. But as we stand here today, two of the biggest are now completely gone, and the third ended in a way no one saw coming. You won't believe how it all unraveled. Let's start with the federal classified documents case. Remember the pictures? The endless news cycles about the boxes stacked in a Mar-a-Lago bathroom? This was supposed to be the big one. The case came to an absolutely insane, abrupt end in July 2024, when Judge Eileen Cannon did the unthinkable. She literally threw out the entire indictment. Her reasoning was a legal bombshell. She declared that the special counsel's very appointment was unconstitutional and therefore illegal. The Justice Department, stunned, immediately tried to appeal. But that appeal was left hanging in the wind. After Trump won the election, the DOJ quietly dropped it, and on November 25, 2024, a federal court officially killed the appeal, driving the final nail into the coffin. That case, the one that dominated headlines for years, is now completely and irreversibly dead. Then, just last month, in November 2025, the other monster case, the sprawling Georgia election racketeering case, also vanished. Remember the RICO charges? The huge list of co-defendants? That entire case was dismissed. And the craziest part? The new prosecutor himself filed the motion to drop all charges against Trump and everyone else involved. His legal filing basically said the case was an unprosecutable mess, citing a minefield of constitutional issues, immunity questions, and jurisdictional chaos that would likely unravel in court and serve no real purpose for the citizens of Georgia. With Trump back in the White House, the prosecutor argued it was a practical and legal impossibility to move forward. So, just like that, poof, it's gone. And finally, the one case that actually reached a verdict, the New York hush money trial. Trump was, in fact, convicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. The world held its breath for the sentencing in January 2025, with speculation of jail time, fines, and probation running wild. Instead, the result was a total shocker. the judge handed down a sentence of unconditional discharge. Let me translate that for you. Even though he is officially a convicted felon, he received 0 jail time, 0 fines, and 0 probation. Literally nothing. While the conviction stands on paper, the sentence carried absolutely no penalty, effectively turning a legal defeat into a practical victory. So, the giant criminal waves that everyone was watching have receded. They ended not with a crash, but with dismissals and a sentence with no punishment. But that doesn't mean the waters are calm. A brand new legal war, a completely different kind of storm, is just getting started. The real fight of 2025 is a chaotic, sprawling tug-of-war between the administration's aggressive use of executive orders and the courts trying to hold the line. Since taking office, the new administration has been unleashing executive orders at a blistering pace, attempting to reshape national policy on everything from immigration to federal spending. And this has ignited a massive legal firestorm. We're not talking about 1 or 2 lawsuits. We're talking about over 100 lawsuits that have been filed across the country, all trying to block these policies. This is the new legal battlefield. The fight over the administration's anti-DEI orders has been particularly wild. In a major decision back in February 2025, a federal court in Maryland actually blocked 2 of the key executive orders. The court's reasoning was fascinating. It said the orders were written so broadly and were so unclear about what was now considered illegal that they were unconstitutionally vague. The judge argued that people of common intelligence must necessarily guess at its meaning, which could crush free speech and violate due process because organizations wouldn't know how to comply without risking punishment. This is just one of many legal battles being fought to determine if and how DEI initiatives can continue. Another huge battle is being waged over the deeply controversial issue of birthright citizenship. The administration attempted to effectively end it for many with a single executive order, and a tidal wave of lawsuits hit them almost immediately. The legal argument against the order is simple and powerful. It violates the plain language of the 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to all persons born in the United States. Multiple federal judges have already ruled against the order, declaring it likely unconstitutional. But this fight is nowhere near over. It is on a collision course with the Supreme Court. But here's where the story takes a truly crazy turn. To get around these lower court roadblocks, the administration is aggressively using the Supreme Court's emergency shadow docket. This is a procedural tool that allows for rapid emergency rulings without the full briefing and oral arguments of a normal case. They are essentially asking the nation's highest court to let their policies go into effect, despite being blocked by lower courts. And in a surprising number of these instances, the Supreme Court is saying yes. It's allowing controversial policies to move forward on an emergency basis, creating a strange legal reality where a policy is simultaneously blocked by one court and given a green light by another. This new legal landscape is shifting so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up. It's a complex, high-stakes game of constitutional chess. So what do you guys think all these court fights truly mean for the future? Is this a constitutional crisis in the making, or just the system working as it should? Let me know your unfiltered thoughts in the comments right now. And if you found this breakdown helpful for cutting through the media noise, do me a favor and smash that like button and subscribe for more insane analysis you won't get anywhere else. So, let's return to our original question. Is Trump actually drowning in a legal tsunami? The answer is a clear and definitive no. The giant waves that everyone was watching for years, the major criminal cases, have totally pulled back. They ended with a whimper, not a bang. 2 complete dismissals and a felony conviction that came with literally no punishment. What's left? It is a super chaotic, unpredictable, and churning ocean of policy battles. Dozens upon dozens of lawsuits are challenging the administration's core agenda, creating a legal war on 100 different fronts. Lower courts are putting up huge roadblocks, ruling against major policies on issues like DEI and birthright citizenship. But at the same time, the Supreme Court's controversial use of the shadow docket has been giving the administration a crucial, if temporary, green light. The simple story that the courts are definitively stopping the presidency is just wrong. Instead, we are watching a relentless, high-stakes tug-of-war between executive power and judicial review. The next few months will reveal whether the lower courts can hold the line, or if the White House, with a potential ally in the Supreme Court, will find a way to win. The original tsunami might be over, but the waters are still incredibly choppy, and the future is anything but certain.